Is salt the deadly poison we're led to believe, or is it actually good for us? Hi, I'm Dr. Seth Gerlach with Core Health. Today I'm talking about this thing called salt, and is it really good for us or not? So, there's a lot of names that salt can go by. So we talk about things like sodium, we talk about table salt, sea salt, Himalayan salt, so many different things, and it gets very confusing. So let's start kind of basic here. Sodium. Sodium is the main ingredient, the main mineral found in salts. And it's extremely important for the body. Just so many different things. Helps our nerves, helps our cells. Everyone is dependent on sodium, and everyone's got sodium in their bodies. Now, is sodium good or bad? Well, the CDC puts a limit on sodium. They say 2,300 milligrams a day is the max that we should go with our sodium amounts. And some other diets even go less than that, like the DASH diet. It's usually around 1,500 milligrams, maybe even less. And a lot of doctors put their patients on a DASH diet if they've got things like high blood pressure, or they think they're at risk for cardiovascular disease, or they have cardiovascular disease. But what's the main source of sodium in our diets? Well, it's mainly processed foods. So we see that sodium may get a bad rap because we're getting all this, but it's all in processed foods just to keep them from rotting, and to keep them sustainable and viable for months on end, so we can continue to eat them. So is it the processed food, or is it the sodium, or is it the salt? So how do we kind of tease this out here? Let's go to another one, table salt. So if you go to the restaurant and you sit down and they got the little white shakers, it's the very refined, very small granule salt. That's most likely table salt. So table salt is toxic to the body. It's 98% sodium chloride, and the rest are just anti-caking agents. Sometimes they put other toxic chemicals in there to make it white. This stuff is toxic. Run from table salt. It is so bad for you. It can lead to things like high blood pressure. It can increase your risk of kidney stones, increase your risk of gout. It can increase your inflammation in the body. Inflammation is the driver of all disease. Okay, so table salt, bad. All right, so now, is all salt bad? Let's keep going. Sea salts. We've heard sea salts are good. Well, it kind of depends on what part of the sea it's from and who's manufacturing, who's processing it. Most of the sea salts out there are very processed. So if you go to the store and you pick up something that says sea salt, you have to be very careful the way it was processed. 'Cause a lot of times the minerals can be stripped out, and what's left is really just not very good for you. Lastly, Himalayan salt. So pink salt. Look at that pink. So this is my favorite salt because there's sodium chloride in it, but it also has 84 different minerals in it. So table salt does not have any other minerals besides sodium chloride. 84 minerals in Himalayan salt. And so it's mined from the Himalayan mountains, from this pure untouched part of the world, and it's got all this great stuff for us. So Himalayan salt, what it does, it helps regulate fluid in the body, so it can actually help balance blood pressure. It can actually help balance our blood sugar, can give us energy, can help us sleep. Also things like it helps with bone health. The list goes on and on and on with Himalayan salt, and I love this stuff so much. I use it every day. I put it liberally on my food, and I put a pinch in every glass of water I drink. And I talk to almost all my patients about salt and how important it is to their body. So when people come in and they say, I crave salt, I need that crunch, those potato chips, or I just need something like after I eat. A lot of time, so the body's smart. It will crave what it needs. So if we're craving salt, well, we usually need salt. Our minerals are off in the body. A lot of times our adrenals help regulate our minerals, and when our adrenals have a hard time of keeping up, we're going to have a hard time maintaining minerals. So getting those minerals in your body from good quality vegetables is amazing. So the magnesium, the sodium, even the calcium, manganese, the list goes on and on. Another easy way to get it is through Himalayan salt. Super easy. So what do the studies really show on salt? So like we said before, the CDC has a limit. There's a DASH diet with very low sodium or salt. So I pulled a couple different studies, one with the Journal of American Medical Association and another one with the Lancet, so two of the most well-respected medical journals in the world. And those studies showed that low salt intake led to an increased risk of cardiovascular disease. So we're going to say that again. A low salt intake led to an increased risk of cardiovascular disease. Yes, it sounds counterintuitive, but that's what they found. So under about 3 grams of sodium or salt per day led to an increased risk. And so what does that tell us? That tells us that maybe these recommendations that the CDC or these other agencies have led us to believe, maybe they're not good for our health. That's also true given all the benefits of things like Himalayan salts. There's also another study, there's many studies that show that low salt intake leads to insulin resistance. So insulin resistance is the precursor to diabetes, where we can't necessarily get nutrients into our cells for energy, so our blood sugar rises. Not good. So yeah, let me know if you use sea salt or Himalayan salt or table salt. Which salt do you use? I love Himalayan salt, obviously. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it and you want to learn more about natural health, functional medicine, tips and tricks, please consider subscribing. I'd really, really appreciate it. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this. Have a great rest of your day. Take care.